We know Serena's disappearance is linked to this power struggle within the war pack. The Loyals opposing Lowe's leadership. But it feels like there's something more, something deeper.
It's not just about personal vendettas. This power struggle, it makes us think about control, influence, the battle for dominance.
It shows how easily manipulation is.
Welcome to Witter. Who Has Time to Read? The podcast that brings deep dives for busy minds. Listen to AI hosts Jane and Dane and get ready to unpack the world's most captivating books in just a fraction of the time. Whether commuting, working out, or just squeezing in a quick break, we deliver key insights, thought-provoking themes, and takeaways you can carry into your day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Plus, use our links in the description to purchase this book. Your support helps us bring more engaging book discussions to you. Listen and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Who has time to read? You do, with Witter.
Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely. Always ready to explore new worlds.
Well, today we're diving into Ali Hazelwood's Bride.
Ah, yes. A world of vampires and wares.
Right. Not exactly your typical love story. We've got excerpts from the book and...
It's going to be a wild ride, that's for sure.
Definitely. Our mission to unravel the secrets of this world.
Explore the dynamics between vampires and wares, see how they clash, how they connect.
And of course, we've got to follow Missy, our main character.
Caught right in the middle of it all.
Now, one thing that struck me right away, Hazelwood doesn't go for the simple good versus evil trope.
Oh, absolutely not. These species, they're both complex. You've got centuries of political maneuvering, deep-seated prejudices,
and that event, the Aster.
Right. Talk about a heavy event to kick things off.
Tell me more about that. What makes the Aster so significant?
Well, imagine a turning point. A massacre so brutal, it shaped the relationship between vampires and wares for generations.
So it's not just a historical event.
No. The Aster, it's a constant reminder of how deep these wounds run. It impacts everything, from everyday interactions to political strategies.
Wow. So into this world, already brimming with tension, steps Missy. She's a vampire.
But she was raised by humans.
Which makes her a bit of an outsider, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. Raised by humans. She's caught between two worlds, never fully belonging to either.
And that's gotta create some internal conflict.
Oh, for sure. And she's a brilliant hacker.
Yep.
More comfortable with technology than with, say, traditional vampire social customs.
So not your typical vampire socialite.
Not even close. Think of her as a logic-driven pragmatist in a world of ancient rituals and blood politics.
I can already see how that's going to lead to some clashes. And to make things even more complicated...
Oh, yeah, it gets complicated.
She gets thrust into a forced marriage with Lo, the were alpha.
Talk about a culture shock.
I was going to say, that's a recipe for disaster, but...
Well, it's not about romance, right? This marriage, it's a strategic move. A desperate attempt to forge a peace treaty between the vampires and wares.
So Missy's a pawn in this high-stakes game of diplomacy.
Basically. Can you imagine the tension? Each of them carrying the weight of their own baggage, their own experiences.
Talk about a honeymoon from hell.
You said it, and then, as if that wasn't enough.
There's more.
Oh, yeah. Mitzi's human friend, Serena, disappears weeks before the wedding.
Okay, now this is getting interesting.
And there are hints, whispers, of a connection to the wares, specifically to Lowe's.
So, another layer of intrigue.
Right. The mystery surrounding Serena is a driving force in this story. We know she had a meeting planned with Lowe's,
right,
but the nature of their relationship, that's a secret. And this pushes Missy to confront the were world, a world she initially sees as hostile and unfamiliar.
Well, she's about to get a crash course in were culture, stepping right into their territory.
Exactly. And it's a world that challenges everything Missy thinks she knows.
Now, we can't forget about Anna, Lowe's younger half-sister.
Oh, Anna. She's a fascinating character.
Kept hidden for her own safety.
Right. And her story, it really speaks to a broader theme in the novel, the struggle for acceptance within both societies. You see, Anna is half were, half human.
Making her pretty unique in this world.
She represents those who are feared just for being different. Her dual nature makes her a target for those clinging to traditions, those who fear change.
So we've got this forced marriage, a missing friend.
And a young woman who doesn't quite fit in.
Sounds like a recipe for chaos.
Oh, it gets even more chaotic. Trust me. As Missy digs deeper into Serena's disappearance,
She uncovers something.
growing tensions within the wearer pack.
Oh, tell me more.
There's a faction. They call themselves the Loyals. They oppose Lowe's leadership, and their motives, not so clear.
Sounds like Missy stumbled into a hornet's nest.
And then, boom, the bombshell. Serena. She's more than just human.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. What do you mean more than human?
She can shift, you see, into a wolf form. And her disappearance, directly tied to this power struggle within the wearer pack.
Hold on. So we've got wearers who can shapeshift, a missing human friend who's not entirely human, and a power struggle brewing within the pack.
It's about to get really interesting. So much fallout from Missy's father. Both the vampires and wearers, everyone is in a state of flux. Reckoning time, makes them question everything, their beliefs, their alliances.
And right in the middle of all this, we've got Missy and Lo grappling with their feelings, that bond between them.
Intense, right.
Speaking of which, let's talk more about those unique word traits. We touched on the not before.
Right.
But what about this concept of a wearer's mate? What makes it different from any other bond? Like, is it just a fancy word for soulmate?
Oh, it's way more than that. It's primal. It's instinct, woven into their biology.
So not just a romantic connection.
No, think of it like a force of nature, irresistible pull, overrides logic, reason.
Wow. So how does this play into Lo's feelings for Missy? He's drawn to her, but he's also got this whole duty to his mate thing.
It's a classic dilemma, isn't it? Heart versus duty. Societal expectations.
But with Lo's, it's even more complicated.
Right. You've got that biological imperative of the mate bond. It's like he's battling centuries of tradition and an instinct that's in his DNA.
And then there's the whole shifting thing, where it's turning into wolves. But it seems like there are different levels of control, ability.
Yeah, like with Anna. She hasn't shifted yet, even during a full moon.
So it's not just a simple on-off switch.
Right. Anna's case suggests that shifting, it's influenced by things like genetics, age, maybe even emotional maturity.
Makes you wonder about Anna's future. I mean, half were, half human. Does this challenge the boundaries between the species? Could we see more like her?
Those are great questions. Anna really raises a lot of questions about the future. How will this impact things between vampires and wearers?
And it makes you think about the broader theme, right? The struggle for acceptance in both societies. Pretty relevant to our own world, too, if you think about it.
Absolutely. Fear of the unknown often leads to discrimination, and Anna's story really mirrors that, right? The challenges marginalized groups face everywhere.
Speaking of prejudice, I was thinking about that scene with the human wearing a bracelet made from vampire fangs. Pretty chilling.
It's a stark reminder, isn't it, of the dehumanization they face, often seen as monsters, not sentient beings with their own culture, history.
And it's not just humans, right? We see wearers using terms like leech to refer to Missy.
Yeah, sadly, prejudice exists everywhere, even among those who've been marginalized themselves. It's a reminder that achieving true equality means dismantling these harmful stereotypes, fostering empathy.
We can't forget about family in all of this. Missy's relationship with her twin brother, Owen.
Oh, Owen. Definitely adds another layer to the story.
They're close, but their paths have really diverged.
It highlights the complexities of family, wouldn't you say? They care for each other, but ambition, their understanding of power, that creates friction.
And then you got Owen plotting against their father.
Sibling rivalry, but with the fate of entire species hanging in the balance. It's their contrasting approaches to power that makes them so interesting.
Makes you think, right? About the choices we make when loyalty to family clashes with what we believe is right. Sometimes standing up for what's right means confronting those closest to you.
It's those little details, those moments of human connection that make this world come alive, like Missy's love for peanut butter.
Right. Such a small detail, but it says so much.
It's a reminder that even in this world of supernatural beings and political chaos, there's still that shared human experience.
Exactly. Missy might be a vampire, but her love for peanut butter makes her relatable.
And then you have Lo, the stoic alpha. Turns out he has a hidden talent.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Sketching.
That's not what I was expecting.
It reveals a different side of him, a softness that contrasts with that alpha persona.
And it reminds us that everyone has hidden depths. You can't just categorize people. There's always more to them than meets the eye.
And sometimes those hidden depths can lead to the most unexpected connections. Like the friendship that develops between Missy and Juno, Lo's were friend.
Oh, Juno. I love her.
They start with prejudices, cultural differences, but then they find common ground. Their concern for Anna, their desire to help her.
It really shows that friendships can bloom in the most unexpected places.
It's a testament to shared experiences, bridging divides.
Their connection also highlights the differences between vampires and weres. Weres seem to value communal gatherings, physical touch. Vampires are more reserved, solitary.
Those little cultural nuances are what make world building so fascinating.
And even with all the conflict, prejudice, we see hints of change, people questioning traditional power structures, looking for a different path.
That's a glimmer of hope, isn't it? For a more inclusive future.
And Missy, as an outsider, she becomes a catalyst for that change.
Her perspective, her willingness to challenge the status quo, it shakes things up.
Now, let's talk about the central mystery. We know Serena's disappearance is linked to this power struggle within the war pack. The Loyals, opposing Lowe's leadership. But it feels like there's something more, something deeper.
It's not just about personal vendettas. This power struggle, it makes us think about control, influence, the battle for dominance.
It shows how easily manipulation and deception can be used.
And how power can corrupt, especially when it's pursued for personal gain.
And then you have Missy uncovering the truth about her own father.
That he's the one pulling the
This
strings.
is such a betrayal.
It forces Missy to confront the darkness that can exist even in those we love.
But she finds the strength to fight back. Her, Lowe, and Owen, they expose his crimes.
It's a victory, but it leaves both societies reeling. The work of rebuilding, reconciliation, it's just beginning.
Reminds us that even after conflict ends, the healing process, it's a long road.
It requires commitment, understanding, and a willingness to let go of old beliefs.
So much to unpack here. But there's one thing we haven't fully explored yet. The mystery of Lowe's mate.
Right? We've been dancing around it, but it's time to dive in to see how this revelation impacts Missy and Lowe's.
We're back, and I have to say, that cliffhanger from the last part has been bugging me. Who is Lowe's mate?
Right, it's the question that keeps swirling around.
It's like a ticking time bomb, especially with Missy and Lowe. Their connection is undeniable, but this mate thing, it looms over everything.
Definitely adds to the tension. And it makes us think about choice versus destiny. Can love really conquer something that seems so preordained, written in their biology?
Big questions. And then there's Missy's journey. She starts off so detached, shaped by her past, being used as this pawn, but then something changes.
I think it's gradual, an awakening. Each connection with Serena, with Lowe, even with Anna, it chips away at that apathy. She starts to rediscover compassion.
It's like she finds her voice, her own agency.
Absolutely. She's not just a bystander anymore.
And that transformation, it's inspiring. It tells us that even when things are tough, we can choose empathy. We can choose to connect, to find meaning.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Now, we can't ignore the romance brewing between Missy and Lowe. What an unlikely pair, right? They start as almost enemies.
It's the enemies to lovers trope. But Hazelwood elevates it. The whole interspecies element, the cultural clashes, the tension from the knot, it's electric.
And speaking of the knot, that throws a whole other wrench into things. It creates this link between them. Physical, emotional. It forces them to confront feelings they might not be ready for.
The knot, it becomes a symbol of their connection. But it also makes us question, what about consent? What about free will? How much control do we really have when biology is involved?
Such a fascinating concept, and I love how Hazelwood flips the power dynamic on its head. At first, Missy's the pawn, right? Controlled by her father, by Lowe. But as she becomes more assertive, uses her skills to help Lowe, things shift.
She goes from passive to active. Her intelligence, her resourcefulness, it becomes vital. And that's what real partnership is, recognizing each other's strengths.
So we've got this chemistry, this forbidden romance, this biological bond, and then boom, the reveal, Lowe has a mate.
And for a while, we think it's Gabrielle, right, another vampire woman. Love triangle alert. But then Hazelwood pulls the rug out.
What a twist! Talk about keeping us on our toes.
Gabrielle's not the mate. And suddenly we're scrambling, trying to figure out who this mystery woman is and what it means for Missy and Lowe.
And Missy, always the pragmatist, she decides to confront Lowe head on, asks him about his mate.
And he doesn't deny it. It's almost like he's resigned to it, this bond with a woman he doesn't even know.
It's kind of heartbreaking, like their connection is doomed before it even really begins.
Oh, Missy's not giving up that easily.
Oh no, she pushes back, challenges Lowe's assumptions, points out that his mate might not even feel the same way.
That's what I love about Missy. She's grown so much. She's not just accepting fate. She's fighting for what she wants.
And you can feel the tension. Lo's trapped between duty and his feelings for Missy.
Heart versus head, a classic struggle.
And then, nothing. Hazelwood leaves us hanging. We never find out who Lo's mate is.
The ultimate cliffhanger. It forces us to think. What do we believe about love, destiny, choice?
So we come to the end of our deep dive into Ali Hazelwood's Bride. We've seen this world, the challenges, the prejudice, the ancient traditions, family ties that can be both strong and destructive. And we've seen how someone like Missy can grow, change.
We've talked about power, how it can corrupt, how norms can be challenged, how connection, whether it's destiny or choice, can overcome the toughest barriers.
It's a story that really makes us look inward, at our own biases, our assumptions. It reminds us that we all share a common humanity, even in a world of vampires, wares, and political scheming.
And we leave with a question. What would you do if you were Missy? Would you fight for a love that seems impossible? Or would you protect yourself from the potential pain?
That's all for this deep dive. We hope you enjoyed exploring this world with us. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring.